We have some major Rams updates that has the national media talking about the Rams. We're going to discuss the conversation around Matthew Stafford yet again this week as it has hit the national news media now. We're going to talk about what Les Snead had to say, what Sean McVay is talking about, the reasons why these conversations keep happening. And it's going to be a quick video. I also want to get into a little bit of some random news for the Rams, just a little highlight them from the playoffs. And also I want to talk about the Super Bowl and my prediction for the matchup and my prediction for today's games, as today actually right now the Eagles and the Commanders should be kicking off already as I'm recording this video. Again, apologies. I've been a busy weekend overall, so haven't been able to get daily Rams content lately. But welcome in to another episode of the Rams Digest. I'm your host, Josh Rahidon. If you guys are not subscribed to the channel, do me a favor and press that subscribe button now, as maybe it's changed a little bit, but 81.8% of you guys, last time I checked, were still not subscribed to the channel. Do me a favor and press that subscribe button so you don't miss any daily Rams content here at the Rams Digest. Again, apologies for the last couple of days not being daily. I've been busy. But we are back here ready to roll. Let's get into this first bit of news already, as my Super Bowl matchup is not what I want to talk about. I want to talk about this. Rams open the trade door. So what I've been discussing all week long, right? Let's look at the possibilities for what the Rams should do, what the Rams are going to do. Let's try to predict it. Let's try to see what they do about Cooper Kupp. I've been talking about it all week long. And a lot of comments, people have me in the comments, and I even talked about his last episode. My dad texted me and said, come on, trade Matthew Stafford? What are we talking about? Now, the reason why this conversation is being had, why it has to be looked at, why it has to be had, why I was bringing it up very early in the week, is because this was the inevitable thing to happen. I'm a little shocked that it did happen, but not necessarily shocked altogether, as here's it hitting national media. Ian Rappaport is tweeting, the future of the Rams quarterback is an open question for Los Angeles. Matthew Stafford's future with the Rams is up in the air. And you guys are yelling at me saying that I'm crazy for talking about moving on for Matthew Stafford, blah, blah, whatever. And maybe people aren't mad at me necessarily. Maybe you're mad at the idea of moving on for Matthew Stafford. And I feel you. I hear you. I agree. I've been talking about this all week as well. I said, look, if it's me, I'm in the room. If I'm in the room and I have a conversation with Les Snead, I'm telling them, look, say what you want about team building. Say what you want about the future of the Rams, cap savings, whatever you want to talk about. We can break that down in a second. But the reality is Matthew Stafford brought a Super Bowl to this franchise when, yes, I think at the point of when they're competing, when they got Jalen Ramsey and you got Aaron Donald, at some point with all the money they were spending and the aggressive trades they were making, yes, at some point we felt that was a special year. But before they got Matthew Stafford, we thought we could compete, right? You thought Jared Goff was going to make it happen at some point, and maybe this team was good enough at some point down the road. He had a couple good opportunities in the first couple years with Sean McVay. But when they made that aggressive trade, a very aggressive trade, mind you, for Matthew Stafford, where at the time, again, we talked about this, people that I'm just being honest with what the conversation was at the time, were saying, Jared Goff, Matthew Stafford, like, yes, Stafford's good, but he's in Detroit. He never wins. He's been there for 8 years plus. He never wins either. So is this really even a big move for the Rams? They kind of overpaid, maybe even got fleeced, and then they won a Super Bowl. So with Matthew Stafford being the quarterback who led the way to winning a Super Bowl for your franchise, it is very difficult to move on from a Rams legend. And maybe it doesn't feel that way for some fans, but the truth and the reality is 5 years, 10 years down the road after Matthew Stafford is done playing football, he is going to be looked at as a Rams legendary quarterback. And I don't think anyone's really going to argue that, to be honest. I don't even know why it's in question, but I know some people out there are crazy. So the reality is this. The Rams, I don't think they were expecting to go 10-7 this year. I don't think they were expecting this team to succeed to the point of the divisional round. I don't think they were expecting Matthew Stafford to lead them down another fourth quarter drive, 2 minutes left in the game, down the field, making it look like he was going to win the game in a snowy Philadelphia divisional round game versus the probably heavy favorites in the NFC. I don't think the Rams anticipated this type of season. Now, of course, Sean McVay and everyone in the building, they're always going to play for that. They're always going to push for that. They're going to fight through the 1-4 record and try to do it the best they can. But I don't think they anticipated this season happening. If this season would have went the way maybe you expected in the beginning of the season, 1-4, halfway through the year, you end up being, I'm sorry if you hear the cars outside and rain, it's actually raining outside today. If you go into the season 1-4, the Rams end up, losing record, a sub 500 record, and this year ended that way, with people questioning Sean McVay, and you get people in the comments questioning Sean McVay. People were saying that. I don't know why we're acting like that. Those conversations, those tweets weren't being posted. Those comments weren't being posted on Rams Digest videos. I don't like Sean McVay. Let's move on. I'm ready to move on from Matthew Stafford. Or maybe we trade him. I don't know. I'm interested. Let's check it out. We're 1-4. Who cares? Those conversations, when the Rams were 5-6, those conversations were being had. Sorry, I'm getting so animated about this, but people are acting like I'm the one bringing up these conversations. These were conversations people were having when the Rams were struggling. And because the Rams powered through and ended up going 10-7, going to the playoffs, battling out, maybe being a Super Bowl contender, that was why the conversation has flipped. No, we can never trade Matthew Stafford. We can never move on from Cooper Kupp. We can never move on from these guys and rebuild. That is now the conversation, which is fine. I'm okay with that conversation being had. But let's acknowledge that at some point this year, and I think at some point for Les Snead and Sean McVay, when they're 1-4, 5-6, they did not anticipate this team going as far as they did. And if the Rams didn't succeed, if the Rams didn't make the playoffs, if the Rams finished sub 500, do you think that the Les Snead conversation or the Matthew Stafford conversation or the Cooper Kupp conversation, do you think they would be talking about everything's fine and dandy, let's run it back? No. Because the Rams succeeded, they are now talking about running it back. Obviously, makes sense. 37 years old Matthew Stafford, who cares? He has game in him. Let's keep him. Cooper Kupp, legend. Let's keep him. But the reality is, I think Les Snead, I think the organization, to some extent, was not anticipating this. And I'm sorry I went on a 5-minute rant there. They were not anticipating the success. So the plan, I think from Les Snead's perspective, was let's maybe look into moving on from these guys. And now that that plan's been kind of foiled, we're now looking at, are they going to trade Matthew Stafford or are they going to keep him? That's why the conversation is being had. And I think that's why it still is on the table. And I think that's why Les Snead is talking about conversations like this. Rams GM talks about $160 million quarterback trade after Matthew Stafford's disturbed plan, or Matthew Stafford's disturbed plan. This sounds kind of a weird title. Don't get distracted by it. It's not really a big deal. What Les Snead was saying, and we'll pull up what he's saying right now, actually. He's basically saying this. I think Matthew probably disturbed our rejuvenation period. I watched the press conference. What Les Snead was saying was the Rams, the way they like to do things is they like to have a rejuvenation period. When the season ends, they like to relax, take a step back from football, take a step back from thinking about planning of the future, and kind of take a step back and just relax for a little bit, get that rejuvenation period to settle in a little bit, and then kind of move forward with their plans for the offseason. So he's saying that back when the Rams traded for Matthew Stafford, they were in their little rejuvenation period, right? And then they were in the divisional round, so they were relaxing. They just lost in the playoffs. They were kind of like, let's take a step back. Let's see what happens in the rest of the season. Let's, kind of do some little things here and there, but let's chill, right? Let's have a little bit of a chill moment, or some chill time, right, to relax and kind of take a step away from our jobs for a second to let things settle. But then, because I think we played in the division around that year, and then maybe a week later, so after they lost, about a week or so later, which around the time right now we are, right, the Rams losing a week after the divisional round loss, it leaked that the Lions maybe had known that Matthew Stafford requested a trade with them. Lions were thinking of trading him, so we had to get to work a little bit quicker than we wanted to. This is what Les Snead was saying, that it was unexpected that Stafford would be available, so they had to get to work. But typically they like to wait a little bit, so that's why they're waiting right now. Right? That was a little bit of a unique situation to trade for Stafford. They're not aggressively shopping Stafford right now. They're just simply relaxing right now. They're in that rejuvenation period. Sean McVay's given a kind of general deadline for Matthew Stafford to make a decision if he's going to play football or not next year, right? So there's a lot of moving parts there. But on trades, talking about trades in general, trading Matthew Stafford potentially actually was a question posed. He says on trades, that's one thing too. It'll take some calling or us reaching out if we want to do. That's a thing. That'll be determined down the road here. So essentially he's saying we're not making calls right now. I'm not getting any calls right now. We're kind of just chilling right now. We're kind of relaxing. That's what Les Snead is saying. But he's not, and the question was straight up posed to him. Are you going to, if Stafford doesn't retire, is there a chance he doesn't play for the Rams? And Les Snead doesn't say no if he didn't retire. Like what I was saying. If I'm in the room, I say, Les Snead, if Matthew Stafford was playing football next year, he's on the team. He's on the Rams. He's saying, well, he's under contract right now, so he's a Ram right now. And, if we're going to go down the road, we're going to see kind of what. That's what Les Snead is saying. Les Snead is the one reacting like, well, not shutting the door on the possibility of trading Matthew Stafford. Not me. Les Snead, the GM, is saying that. So stop getting mad at me in the comments. Snead would not guarantee, if you guys see the bottom of the quote here, the bottom of the screenshot, Snead would not guarantee Stafford to be on the Rams roster in 2025 if he does not retire. And like I said, the question was pretty much posed straight up. Is he on the roster or not? Well, we have to wait and see. So Les Snead, people in the building are thinking about what they're doing with Matthew Stafford moving forward, and it's because he's a 37-year-old quarterback. It's not that. I think next year you're talking about a rookie or Stafford. Talking about trading for J.J. McCarthy, which is not going to happen, but trading for J.J. McCarthy or Matthew Stafford, or signing Zach Wilson or Matthew Stafford. Having Matthew Stafford is better than those options. But are you, the reality is, are you going to sign someone else? Can you trade for someone else? Who else is on the market, right? Who else is available for trade? Who else is available to sign? Who's going to get cut, released? Is Daniel Jones an option? I mean, again, I'm not, regardless of who's an option out there, that's very slim guys, are very slim amount of options for the Rams at quarterback that are going to be better than Matthew Stafford. And I think that's why a lot of Rams fans are like, no, just keep Matthew Stafford. But again, cap hit, cap space, all that good stuff, that does matter, right? Going back to that, bring that up again. Rams have about $46.6 million according to Over the Cap right now, projections 2025. Cutting Stafford during the offseason with a post-June 1st designation is what I said, word for word, what I was talking about a couple of videos ago. Now it's on in all these articles. I should just be writing articles. Designation would save the Rams. Post-June 1st cut designation would save the Rams $23 million with $26.6 million in dead cap space. So cutting him, you do have quite a bit of a dead cap, but you're opening up another $23 million to go sign some guys. Or a post-June 1st trade, which is what kind of the conversation has been moving to, would save the Rams $27 million with a $22.6 million. So it's actually more appealing for the Rams to not cut Matthew Stafford, to trade Matthew Stafford, which is why the trade has been more leaked out a little bit more than cutting him. They wouldn't just outright cut him, let him sign wherever. They'd probably trade him to the Raiders, or trade him to Minnesota maybe, or trade him to Tennessee, right? Whatever team really wants a quarterback that wants a quarterback that can win now, right? That's kind of what the Rams would probably do. So that is why the conversation's being had. It's not me. Don't shoot the messenger. That's why we're talking about it. But I agree with a lot of Rams fans out there, right? If Stafford says he wants to play, just keep him on the roster. He's a Rams legend. It's probably your best chance to win anyways, even though he is getting older, even though he isn't as mobile as he used to be, even though he isn't as consistent as he used to be. He's still a really good quarterback that can win playoff games, plays really, really well in December and January. And so keep the quarterback who's a legend. Let him decide when he wants to move on, restructure his contract, give him some more guaranteed money. Let's move on with Matthew Stafford just for this next season, but have a contingency plan, draft a quarterback late in the second, third round, do whatever you want to do moving forward. So that's kind of where the conversation's at. Again, that's kind of where things stand right now. Snead didn't make a big announcement saying he's going to trade him, he's shopping him. No, he's simply saying, we'll see. We'll see what happens, right? We'll see what happens, which is kind of his job as a GM. You can't really tell everybody, no, we're not trading him. Then you get no phone calls, right? Hey, if someone comes to you and says, talk to Matthew Stafford one-on-one, and he says, we'll see what happens. I'm thinking I want to play, but I don't know if it makes sense for us all together to play in LA. Maybe I want to go somewhere else. And Tom Brady called me, and Pete Carroll called me, and they want me to go to the Raiders. I'm not saying that's what Matthew Stafford's saying, but if Stafford is feeling something like that, and Les Snead goes, okay, cool, we're going to keep it quiet. All of a sudden, the Raiders say, we're going to give you 3 first-round picks for Matthew Stafford. Stafford's already wanting to leave. Fans don't want him to go, but the Staffords may be thinking about it. If this is the situation, hypothetical, then that's why you have to kind of play it the way Les Snead is playing it, I think, as general manager, and that's why we're playing it the way it's going right now. So that's where we're at. All right, moving forward, quick little story that I think is kind of cool to pull up. Here's a nice acknowledgement of what the defense did. Oh my God, 2 rounds. 2 playoff games, 16 sacks, most sacks through a divisional round in the Super Bowl era. Defense, do what you do. Shout out to the Rams defense, balling out. So excited to see how young this team is too moving forward. Very excited to see them add some maybe veteran pieces on defense. Again, add more bulk on the defensive line just to get a little more run stopping ability, right? You don't want Saquon's a beast, but come on, 200 yards back-to-back times you play him. That's not normal. That's not normal, and Saquon's not normal, but that's not normal. So let's beef up that defensive line. Let's beef up the linebackers. Let's make it so we can stop the run a little bit more aggressively. But overall, shout out to his defense, man. They're getting to the quarterback. We had the pass rush to bother many teams. Let's get to a point where we can stop the run. That's kind of the goal, I think, for the Rams moving forward for next season. Last but not least, my Super Bowl matchup prediction. We'll do this quick. Again, we're about 20 minutes into that first Eagles versus Commanders game. Actually, before I pull my prediction up, let me actually just really quickly search Eagles game, and let's see, 0-0 right now, 7 minutes left. Oh, no, Google was lagging a little bit. 7-3 is the final score. 7-3 is the score right now as we're recording this. 7 minutes left to go in the first quarter. Eagles are up. I was going to help my prediction a little bit. I mean, if the Commanders or something were up by 20 already, then obviously that would have changed my prediction. But no, I'm going to keep my prediction where it was at. And so the prediction for this final round of the before we get to the Super Bowl, right? This final divisional or conference championship round. Sorry, I was a lot of moving parts here. Here's what the playoff bracket looks like. Kind of crazy to see, right? Post everybody playing. There's only 4 teams left. Who's gonna play in the Super Bowl? You got 13-4 Buffalo Bills versus the 15-2 Kansas City Chiefs. They're playing later today. We got the Washington Commanders 12-5 versus the 14-3 Philadelphia Eagles. Some pretty good teams, right? Oh my goodness, all these screenshots. Hate to do it to you guys. I said I'm rooting for the Buffalo Bills. I said, I don't want the Eagles to win. I don't want them to even sniff the Super Bowl. I don't think it's, fun to see. My final prediction real quick. I got the Eagles over the Commanders. They're going to make it to the Super Bowl again, second time in Jalen Hurts' career. He's going to try to go up against the big bad Kansas City Chiefs, in my opinion. I think the Chiefs are just, say what you want about refs helping them and all that stuff. I think at this point they have too much experience. They know, Travis Kelce knows, and Mahomes probably knows that with Kelce, this could be one of their last runs to go to the bowl and win another Super Bowl and be obviously the first team to win 3 straight. I am predicting that it's going to be a tough one versus Buffalo, but Kansas City ultimately comes out on top. Kansas City versus the Philadelphia Eagles is my Super Bowl prediction. We'll go from there after the next couple of weeks, and I'll give my Super Bowl prediction of who's going to win the Super Bowl if I'm right. But that's kind of where I have it right now. Kansas City versus Eagles, a rematch. Kind of a fun rematch, in my opinion, from a couple seasons ago. Something I kind of would rather see than Buffalo versus Washington, to be honest. Buffalo versus Philly is kind of interesting, but again, I'd be rooting for Buffalo heavy, but I don't know, guys. I just feels like Kansas City's going to win a 3-peat. That's just kind of where I'm at right now. That's kind of my prediction. Eagles over the Commanders, Kansas City Chiefs over the Buffalo Bills. You guys let me know your Super Bowl matchup prediction down below in the comments. That's going to do it for me on today's episode of the Rams Digest. I'm your host, Josh Giron, and I am out.